First off, thank you for all of the feedback on my last video. A lot of you shared ideas on how the mix could be improved and how the examples could be presented more clearly. So that's exactly what we're going to do in this video. You offered feedback and this is me taking it. I've put together a mix too, and we're going to start by listening to it completely dry with no mix bus compression at all. And after that, we'll listen to the full mix again using 4 different mix bus compressors: the SSL Native Bus Comp, the Brainworks Townhouse compressor, the UAD Manley Vari-Mu, and the UAD Fairchild 670. Each of these compressors includes a sidechain high-pass filter, so you'll hear each example twice. First with no sidechain filtering, and then again with the filter engaged around 100 Hz. After listening to all the examples, we'll meet back and discuss the results. This video is sponsored by DistroKid. If you're looking to release original music on platforms like Apple Music or Tidal, DistroKid makes it fast and easy with unlimited uploads, and artists keep 100% of their royalties and earnings. You can get started using the link in the description to get a discount on your first year with DistroKid. Let's get into it. So what did you think? Was there a compressor that you preferred more than the others? Leave your thoughts in the comments below. Now, I'll be the first to admit that the differences are quite subtle. Hearing compression can be tricky, especially when we're talking about mixed bus compression, which is typically a much more gentle form of compression when compared to more heavy-handed approach that may be used on individual tracks. Now, for this comparison, I set each compressor to take about 3 decibels of gain reduction off the mix, and I lowered the threshold when using the sidechain filter in order to get a similar amount of compression as the first example. So the first 2 compressors we're looking at used the same attack and release settings, but when I check these plugins out in Plugin Doctor, we learn that they're doing very, very different things. So first up, let's talk about the SSL Native Bus Compressor. Like I said in my previous video, this is my usual go-to mixed bus compressor because it delivers consistently great results. And when we drop it into Plugin Doctor, the first thing we notice is this very linear frequency response. There's no intentional frequency shaping happening across the spectrum. And what does show up, however, is a predictable pattern of odd order harmonics. Now, these harmonics don't boost low frequencies directly, but they do add upper harmonic content that relates to that original signal. And this can increase presence and tone, and it's really helpful for playback systems that struggle to reproduce low-end fundamentals like laptops or other small speakers. In our first example, the compressor reacts most strongly to the low frequency energy of the kick drum, which represents the largest peak information in the mix. With a 10 millisecond attack time, the SSL bus compressor allows some of the transient to pass through before the compressor fully engages. So that initial punch stays intact while the body of the sound is controlled. Now in example 1B, we engage the sidechain high pass filter set to around 100 Hertz. This filter removes low-end frequency from the compressor's detector circuit, meaning that the compressor is no longer reacting to those sub-bass frequencies coming from the kick or the bass guitar. But the thing to remember here is that the low frequencies are still present, they're just being ignored by the compressor. And this helps to reduce low-end driven pumping, and it allows the compressor to respond more to the mid-range and higher frequency information instead. This can be especially useful if maybe you've already compressed your kick to the desired level and you don't want it to be turned down by the compressor. Or maybe you've already added distortion to help your kick to cut through the mix, and you don't feel like you need to push this any further using a compressor. In these scenarios, using the sidechain filter keeps the compressor from overreacting to your low end so that your mix keeps its full weight. All right, up next is the Townhouse bus compressor from Brainworks. So just like the SSL example, this compressor is reacting primarily to the kick drum. Now, when we load both the Townhouse compressor and the SSL compressor into Plugin Doctor, there's one thing that immediately stands out, and that's that the Townhouse appears to be slightly louder right out of the gate. And this is a clever trick that I've noticed that Universal Audio does with a few of its plugins as well. The default level is set a little bit higher than Unity gain. And because louder is often perceived as better according to the equal loudness curves, this can easily lead to the impression that the plugin sounds better before any meaningful comparison is made. Now, what's particularly interesting here is that even when the Townhouse makeup is set to 0, the output is still roughly 0.3 decibels above Unity. So to make this a fair comparison, I've adjusted the makeup level on the SSL. Now, looking at the frequency response, it appears that there's some internal filtering happening. We can see a high pass filter rolling off below the audible range, along with what looks like a gentle shelf of high frequency attenuation going on above roughly 10K. And when we switch over to the harmonic analysis, something unexpected shows up. This test is running around a 100 Hertz sine wave through the compressors. And in this case, there are no meaningful harmonics being generated. Now, normally if a compressor is acting harmonic coloration, we'd expect to see something like we did with the SSL bus compressor, right? A predictable pattern of harmonics or multiples of the fundamental frequency. Instead, what we see here is a raised noise floor across the spectrum without any clear harmonic structure. And this strongly suggests that instead of introducing harmonic distortion, this plugin is adding analog modeled noise, likely to model the analog components of the original hardware version. Some plugins allow this noise to be toggled on and off, but in this case, it appears to be baked in. What do you think? Do you concur? If you have any thoughts or theories of your own, drop them in the comments. I'd love to hear from you. And in the dynamics test, the Townhouse plugin also failed to register any actual gain reduction despite it working fine in my DAW. So I'm not really sure what to do with that. All right, up next, we're looking at the UAD Fairchild 670 for our third example. Here we're using time constant 3, which gives us an extremely fast attack time of 400 microseconds, paired with a long release of 2 seconds. This configuration makes the Fairchild the fastest reacting and longest holding compressor in the lineup. Because the attack is so fast, the Fairchild clamps down on transients almost immediately, preventing sharp peaks from breaking through. And with the long release time, the gain reduction doesn't return to 0 quickly, which reduces obvious pumping and creates a smoother, more consistent dynamic shape. Now, if you plan to use the Fairchild on your mix bus, I think it's worth experimenting with time constant 5 and 6, which are both program-dependent modes that the unit is famous for. Both positions 5 and 6 have a fixed attack time, but the release becomes more program-dependent, adjusting automatically based on the density and duration of incoming peaks. This is a similar concept to the auto release that's found in the SSL bus compressor. So basically, the more information that crosses the threshold, the more the Fairchild is going to settle into a long, steady hold, and this is what gives the Fairchild its signature smoothness. It acts fast on individual peaks, but as more information crosses the threshold, it's going to have a more averaging effect. Because of this behavior, the Fairchild acts almost like a hybrid between a peak limiter and a leveling amplifier. It's quick on the initial hits, but it's very stable as the energy builds. You may notice in our example that you rarely see the meter returning to 0 because the release constantly adapts to the incoming signal. Unfortunately, I wasn't able to get the Fairchild to work in Plugin Doctor for this video, despite I'm reinstalling and updating, so I can't provide the same linear or harmonic visuals that we had in the other examples. For our fourth example, we're looking at the UAD Manley Vari-Mu. In this test, the compressor is set to its fastest attack time, which is 25 milliseconds. So even though this is the fastest time available, it's still the slowest attack time of any of the compressors that we're comparing today. And that has a big impact on how it behaves. Because the compressor is so slow, more of the transient slips through before the compressor can clamp down on it. And the result is a tone that feels more open and punchy. So if you want your transients to come through with a bit more snap, this compressor naturally leans in that direction. But the trade-off is, if you're looking to really flatten or control sharp peaks, the Vari-Mu won't respond as quickly when compared to something like the SSL bus compressor or the Townhouse, both of which offer much faster attack options. The release is set to the medium fast position, which is 400 milliseconds. And again, when compared to the others, that's still on the slower side. And combined with a slower attack, the Vari-Mu tends to be less reactive overall. It moves in a smoother, more laid-back way instead of grabbing tightly onto each transient. So in this shootout, the Vari-Mu stands out as the most relaxed and punch-preserving compressor of the group, simply because its attack and release limitations. Hello from the editing room. There's a few more things about this plugin that I forgot to mention that are a little strange. So to start, the Vari-Mu plugin loads in with almost a decibel of gain added. It's the same trick that the Brainworks uses, and I've noticed this also when using the UAD LA2 plugin as well. So just something to be aware of. And now that that's taken care of, what is this? There's a huge high pass filter looking curve extending up to around 500 Hertz. Is this suggesting that this plugin doesn't react to low frequencies? I don't even have the sidechain filter on, so I'm not really sure what I'm looking at. And it gets weirder because you can adjust this headroom knob that I've noticed a lot of the UAD plugins have now. This is advertised to adjust the overall distortion response so that the signal can be pushed farther before compression. And while it seems to change this frequency curve a lot, increasing the headroom by turning it to the right adds a large boost to the low frequencies, whereas decreasing the headroom by turning it to the left evens out the low frequency response somewhat. Again, if you have any idea of what's going on here, leave it in the comments. The harmonic analysis is pretty strange as well. We are picking up a melange of even and odd harmonics, but they're in a different order of intensity, with many of the higher order harmonics being louder or more pronounced than the second and third harmonic, which is different from the clean, odd-ordered harmonics that we found in the SSL. That, and again, what appears to be an analog modeled noise floor. Honestly, not what I was expecting. I hope this breakdown helped you to get a clearer sense of how these different bus compressors behave in real-world mixing. Leave a like if it did, and consider subscribing if you want to see more videos like this one. Thank you for watching, and a big thank you to everyone who left feedback on my last video. It really helps to keep me honest and helps to shape what comes next on the channel. I'll see you in the next one.